Well, children, it's me, Grandad, and I'm going to tell you a story. Now I've got my beard on here, white beard. Look at that white beard. It suits my hair really. There's my hair. But white beard and hair. Anyway, I'm going to tell you a bedtime story because you know it's a bedtime story. And how do you know it's a bedtime story? Because I'm lying in bed. Let me introduce you to my friend. This is Bear. Hello, Bear. Say hello. Hello. How are you, Bear? I'm all right. And here, woof, 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 is Alfie. Woof, woof. Are you tired, Alfie? Are you going to go to sleep? Are you going to go to sleep after I tell you a bedtime story? And what about you, Bear? You can do the same? Yeah, okay. Well, I'll tell you a bedtime story so you can relax. Now, the bedtime story is about a kite. Now, a kite that I made flies in the air and it's made out of paper and string. It was a big and red kite with some yellow in it. I was about your age when I made the kite, but the kite was bigger than me. I'm about the same height as you, but the kite was even taller than me. And it was shaped like a diamond. Now, what's a diamond? Well, that's a ball shape, that's round. The square shape, often you see boxes like that. And then there's a diamond shape, which is like that. It's not a triangle shape, which is just like that. It's two triangle shapes, bottom to bottom. Anyway, it's that sort of shape. Kite shape. Anyway, a diamond also can be a jewel. And that there has been a reputation for being diamond shape. But they can be any shape because you can cut them whatever shape you want. I was quite good at colouring and I decided on yellow and red, but when I was actually making the kite, I had lots of different colours. I had greens and then oranges, and you could choose whatever colour you want if you want to make a kite. I know you're probably good at colouring as well. Anyway, I made the kite, and it's a strange thing when I made the kite because I remember starting to make it and then I fell asleep. And then I woke up, the kite was made. So I thought, well, perhaps Mummy and Daddy made the kite. Do you not think so? Yeah, but it wasn't. No. I asked them, they said they hadn't. So I assumed it was a magic kite. Well, a magic kite is when things happen that you can't explain, yet it's happening. Anyway, I thought it may be a magic kite. And it turned out to be true. And this is the story I'm going to tell you about. Anyway, I went out to make to fly the kite. And I went out into my garden, which is quite big. But you should fly a kite in a park or another recreational area, or your garden if it's big enough. And I pulled the kite. I tied the string to the end of it. And what you do is you run with the wind behind you and you let the string out so the kite goes a little bit up, and then you stop it a bit, and then you let a bit more string out and stop a bit, and the wind slowly takes it up and it goes right in the sky. And that's what happened to my kite, except the wind got stronger and stronger and stronger, and it began to pull harder and harder and harder, and eventually I tied the string around my wrist because I thought I could lose it. It's getting so strong. I was holding on, then wow, all of a sudden I felt my feet slowly lifting off the ground, and I went up in the air. And I looked down. I was a bit frightened to start with, but then I thought, well, this is a magic kite, nothing's going to happen. And I looked down and I saw my garden. But the garden looked small, and it was getting smaller. So why was the garden getting smaller? I'll tell you why, because the further you get away from things, the smaller they get. So I was getting up in the air, the garden was getting smaller and smaller, until eventually I saw the whole town. And I went up into the air, and I went up to the clouds. Now, I hope Mummy and Daddy weren't worrying, because I should have told them where I was going. Always make sure your Mummy and Daddy know where you are. That's the important thing. I should have done that. But I don't think they'd be worried because they saw me lastly in the garden. Besides, I got a magic kite. So as I went higher and higher, of course, what do you see in the sky? You see clouds, and what are the colours of clouds? Big white bushy things. And all of a sudden a bird came by. A bird, you know, there were feathers on them. And the bird went squawk, 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 squawk. And all of a sudden, I understood what it was saying. Now that's magic. Because I began to understand bird talk. You know, maybe one day I'll learn dog talk. Woof, woof, woof. That means get on with it. All right. So this bird flew alongside, a big white bird, and it said to me, it told me, the bird, he said, squawk, 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 which meant he's flying to a warmer climate for the summer. Because we were in the spring, and in the spring, new flowers come out, the winter's gone, and you remember in your garden there could be crocuses and there could be daffodils, yellow daffodils with white snowdrops. You should see what's in your garden. Anyway, so he was flying to the summer, and I said, are you flying on your own? He said, no. And I looked down, there was loads of birds, but there was 3 birds that were waving, which must have been his family, his children. I said, are those your children? He goes, yeah, they're his children. And there was the mother of the birds flying with them. So he said he had to go and fly on. So I said goodbye, and the children said goodbye, and they flew off. Anyway, I went higher and higher, and the clouds got thicker and thicker. I couldn't see anything. Then all of a sudden I saw a wooden cabin, brown wooden cabin, sat on a cloud. And it had smoke coming out of it. It looked very homely, little lights, little windows were all sort of like showing the inside all lit up from a fire. And there was a porch outside. It looked very nice. So anyway, I drifted towards it. Not intentionally, the kite took me there. Then all of a sudden the kite lowered me on the porch. And I was able to bring in the string, and I put the kite under my arm, where the dog would be really. And I decided I'd knock on the door. I knocked several times, and I knocked again. And all of a sudden there was a young girl opens the door with a smile, and she smiled, and I smiled, and she smiled, and I smiled. Because smiling's good, you know. Laughing's good. Let's try that. It does make you laugh. Anyway, so I laughed as she laughed, and then I looked there, and there was another little boy that came as well. They looked about the same age, the girl and the boy, and he smiled, and I smiled, and she smiled, and we all smiled. I said hello, and they spoke together. I mean, exactly at the same time. They went, hello, and about the same time, hello. And I said, well, I thought they were twins. Twins are when they look very similar to born at the same time. And these two were smiling children, which showed they were very happy. And meeting them made me very happy. And I said, who are you? And they said, we are the children of the clouds. And I said, well, how old are you then? And they said, we are older than we look. We might even be older than you. Being happy keeps us young. So I thought to myself, well, I want to stay young too. Luckily for me, I'm always happy. In fact, I'd say being happy is fantastic. And when you go to sleep at night, you shut your eyes and smile and go to sleep happy. I said, what are your names then? And the boy said, I am A. And the girl said, I am B. But those weren't names. They're part of the alphabet, aren't they? A, B, C, D, E. Well, people have names, children have names, but these children were called A, the boy, and B, the girl. So I said, where's your family? And they said they're all here on the clouds. I said, but I can't see these families that you say are here. And they said, smile a bit more. So and lo and behold, I began to see little houses appearing all on the clouds. It was actually a little village. And then A and B turned round and they pointed to little children in the clouds and they said, there's C, there's D, there's E. So I said, what happens when all the letters of the alphabet are used up? I think there are 22 letters in the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Z. That's it. Z. That's a very fast alphabet. And they said, well, we use numbers then. So if we go to A to Z, then we use A1, A2, A3, B2, B3. So they could count as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So I said, what do you do then during the day? And they said, well, we meet, we drink lemonade, and we tell stories. We always tell happy stories, they said. So I said, so where do you get the stories from? And he said, we make them up. And I said, do they come true? He said, sometimes they come true. And then he said to me, A said, don't you know it's bedtime? And I looked and I thought, well, it must be past my bedtime. So I said, how do I get back to my mummy and daddy in my house? They said, B then, the girl said, I better lie down on that bed, she said. So I went to a lovely bed with soft pillows and sheets, and I lay down. And I shut my eyes. And I started to breathe slowly. I started to think of nice things like toys and ice creams and all the things I like, and holidays. And I like being on the beach, so I thought about that. So you shut your eyes like mine for the moment, breathing nice and slowly, and think of something nice like the beach. And then slowly I went to sleep, as you will. So it's time for you to go to sleep. In my story, it was a real surprise the next morning when I woke up, because Mum was calling me for breakfast, so I didn't even know that I'd been in, even with my kite. My kite was by the side of the bed, ready to be flown. It's like, I must have dreamt it all. And then I looked at the kite, and somebody had written on it, love from A and B. So did I dream it? Or did it really happen? Anyway, time to go to sleep now. Shut my eyes. Get off. Get off. Oh yeah, where was I? That was that nice beach I was on. Night, night, children.